of the talk that the people the Pistons want to add from Trey Murphy to Tyler Hero to Zach LaVine to let's say Trey Murphy, a lot of these guys they looking to add. One of the things that I think that that needs to be noted is that it's about everybody injuries. These guys ain't as durable as they used to be. These guys are not as durable as they used to be. And I think really that really needs to be talked about. We're in an era where, I think LaVine played 30-some games last year. I think also Kyrie. If we was talking about, I think through Kyrie's, 9, 10, 11, 12 years in the league, if they had the 65-game rule eligible, the eligibility game rule, he would only been eligible 5 times throughout his career. And he came into the league with injury issues. You know what I'm saying? So when we start really having those, discussions, that's just going to be a topic of talk with everybody that we're going to be. We've discussed marketing. That's kind of been quiet. That just lets you know the price on him is just insane. But injuries. Tyler Hero, 26 years old. He only played 30-some games last year. Missed the NBA Finals versus the Denver Nuggets. It's just all the talk is going to continue to be about it's going to continue to be about the injuries, and we'll talk about some contract extensions here. So that just lets you know that we are just in a different place. And I was reading a post on Instagram, and I don't know, you can fact check, and they said Norway bought thousands of 2,000 pounds of their own food because of the American food having a bunch of ingredients in it that are illegal. And that's crazy. That's crazy. I was letting you over, Brad, but don't get over it. But yeah, that's crazy. But so I think it's a direct correlation to that or whatever. But these dudes, man, you don't have Ironman awards no more. You don't have guys like Carl Ripken or guys like Michael Jordan, John Stockton, Karl Malone, who took pride in putting these cookie crumbs, these Oreo crumbs down. You don't have the guys like that no more. You don't have those guys like that no more. So every guy we kind of been associated with, it's kind of been like, okay, they have, they didn't play this many games, so they had this injuries, or they had durability injury, and that's the whole common thing. And the thing about when we kind of talk about Isaiah Stewart, one of the things that people never talk about Isaiah Stewart and people that's pro keeping him, and I'm not against keeping him. I like Isaiah Stewart. I grew to think he found his niche. But for a guy who don't really play, full-time minutes, he played 20 minutes a game, somewhere around there. For a guy like that to never be able to stay healthy, always tired, not being able to play extended minutes in around, in the last 2 years, he's been non-existent in the playoffs. He was injured in the Knicks series, and then this year he was suspended. Then he had a calf injury. He did absolutely nothing in that series. He got a pass because I think people assumed that he was injured, but that's 2 years in a row. So it was just not into the fact that year one in the playoffs, Jalen Duren kept getting into foul trouble, right? And then he was injured in year two. He was injured again, and you're ineffective on the court. And he made some splash plays defensively, but they're too few, far in between. You're talking about a guy that's around 20 minutes a game, So durability in the NBA, that's something that needs to really be studied, in my opinion. It really needs to be studied, man, because it's a lot of these dudes who's lacking the durability, bro. And that's just a common thing from Murphy to Kyrie to Tyler Hero to guys from their 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, upper 20s. The durability is an issue. You know what I'm saying? It's just the issue. I think every person that we talk about, we're talking about durability problems that you're going to have to say, hey, look here, they're going to miss between, On the nice side, 15 to about 22 games. You think about 15 to 25, 30 games, 15 to 30 games. You know what I'm saying? So you got to just sketch out when you make particular deals with guys, you got to already etch in stone or like, okay, we got to have depth because, or we got to, have depth so we can win some regular season games. We got to have 15 to 30 games sketched out that this guy's going to miss. Whether he 20 years old, whether he 25 years old, he 32 years old. Like, really, a lot of the Iron Man guys are dying with, like, Westbrook, LeBron James, those type of dudes that was really carrying a burden and they really was real durable. And then you start to talk about some of these guys you might have to pay a contract to. Hero is playing on the last year of his deal. You go get Hero. You gonna eventually. Hey, are you willing to walk away from Isaiah Stewart, Ron Hollins, and that rumor trade and lose the 2026 first round draft pick? And is you prepared to lose Tyler Hero? See, that's the thing about it, because when you say go get Zach LaVine, you ain't gonna probably give up much for Zach LaVine. So whatever you give up for Zach LaVine, you can live with. If it don't work, you can live with it. You can live with it. So if you go get a guy like Hero, you commit to it. Now Kyrie got about a year or two left. So in general, you hope that he would stay healthy if you can get him. But also in general, you understand that if I do bring him back, it's probably gonna be another 3-year deal. And I know that, I probably got to replace him pretty soon. Trey Murphy is in a good point in his contract. It's a good, respectable contract. I think he got some more time left on that contract. He just signed it. So it's not a bad number. Right around a little bit more than what Tobias getting now. So yeah, I mean, that's something you got to think about. Some of these dudes you got to pay. If LaVine come and have an excellent year in Detroit, hey, you got to prepare to ante up. But the thing is, if he has a successful year in Detroit, if any other team going to be like, oh, I see what LaVine did, we need to put him here, because he's not going to go to Minnesota. Or he already been there, but he's not going to go to a Charlotte, New Orleans to help them get over the hump. If he's successful in Detroit, he needs to be a part of a successful organization to show what he can do. We've seen him in Minnesota. We've seen him in Chicago. We've seen him in Sacramento. He's not one of those guys that's going to elevate. So you got to remember, some of these guys you pick up, you're going to have to pay them real soon. So not only are you giving up capital, you know what I'm saying, but also you got to pay these guys. And usually you got to pay them more than what they owe. So it's going to be interesting. Other than a guy like Trey Murphy, but that's the price of doing business. No, that's the price of doing business. So, but we'll see. But hey, let me know what you think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist for more videos like this. Appreciate the love and support. You can find me everywhere in the comment section and say find me everywhere. Hit the link tree, X, Instagram, Facebook. Peace.